Alright, hi guys, welcome back to another 3 Amigos video. Today I am with Keedon, and today we're sort of testing two things. One is we're actually trying the video quality on the Q3, and as you know, the Q3 shoots 4K up to 8K even. But secondly, I hope the audio is fine because we're using the onboard camera mic, the inbuilt camera mic, and there's no external mic. So we hope that the video and audio quality is okay. So let us know what you guys think. And in case if you think it's not good enough, we'll try and edit it in post as well. So today we have a very special comparison. We are here in Sheung Wan in the Taiping Shan district. Here we're comparing two cameras and two lenses. In my hands we have my trusted Leica MP black paint, and I have a vintage E60 Noctilux version 4. Meanwhile, Keedon will be shooting with the M7 Ghost version. M7 with the modified ghost skin, along with the Leica Noctilux 0.95. This is the new version. Now, just feeling them, I mean, obviously the M7 and MP are both very well built cameras. This is the chrome version with the ghost modification. Don't forget to check out our video if you want to know how we made this ghost version ourselves. So just look at them, they're both very different cameras. One has the automated metering and shooting aperture priority mode, whilst the MP Black Paint is a fully mechanical camera, but it doesn't have the aperture mode. The Noctilux is also very different. This is the 0.95, this is the new Noctilux, and this is the old Noctilux E60 version 4. So we're going to be shooting Kodak Gold 200 film today, and we're going to shoot them side by side and sort of see, sort of see how they compare. Man, this camera is heavy on the neck.
What's up? I'm Keedon.
Yeah, otherwise, this will be a fun shoot, and let's see how things go. Wow, this is like a brick. This is half a brick. I always thought my Noctilux was heavy, but this Noctilux is different level.
But wait till you try the 75 Noctilux.
Yeah. But I think what's interesting is we want to see how these two lenses compare on film, and it's actually right now it's actually quite dark. It's actually nearing to 6 p.m. So we only have Kodak Gold 200, but that's why we have the Noctilux. So hopefully we can sort of see how the rendering, the colors, and see how they appear on camera and in the photo. So stay tuned.
Alright guys, for the purpose of this video, we are also testing Q3 video. So if you're curious about it, I don't have a very fast nor big SD card. So I'm forced to shoot it at 4K, 23.9 FPS, LGOP, 8-bit video. So the white balance is on auto here, and also the autofocus is triggered using the IAF. And in terms of the color, I'm using the inbuilt vivid color setting, which I think looks the most appealing at this time in Hong Kong. And the ISO is 125, and I'm shooting at f2.8 at the shutter speed of 250, 1/250. So I have about 40 minutes of video to make. So yeah, let's have a look at the video quality after we are done. So Stanton is trying to demonstrate how to remove his case frantically. Look at him. Well, I'm also testing the autofocus of the Q3, and I'm using IAF here, not doing anything. Okay. It's f2.8, and it's alright in some part of the segment that I'm doing here, but you can sort of see how it also loses track.
Portrait photo.
There's a portrait. Okay, alright. So the thing about the film cameras is you have to open the base plate just to reload, and it can get tricky, especially if you're like Stanton, carrying so much shit in the middle of Hong Kong. And I'm protecting him from robberies, robbers, snatchers. So he's gonna load the Kodak Gold. I love Kodak Gold, but I think at this time of the day, Kodak Gold is probably looking very warm, excessively warm. So hopefully the sun will come down and we get the golden hour, and that's when the Kodak Gold shines. Alright, so he's trying to load the film in the most confusing, hectic way. So guys, if you're learning how to do film photography, this is an example of what you should not do.
You should find a place to sit down.
You should find a place to sit down and do it properly, not in the middle of a street. Alright, so you tuck that in.
The reason why I feel comfortable is the fly that keeps flying around my leg.
Yeah, excuses. Leica photographers do not have excuses.
I mean, they shoot this at the war, right? So.
Okay, yeah, exactly. They did this in the war, so you have bullets and mortar bombs going off.
What is a fly?
So what are you doing now? You're trying to...
Yeah, lock it, the teeth in.
Alright, okay, so they're trying to put the film into the spokes. Okay, here we go. Clumsy hands. And close. That's why you need a strap, you know, in case you slip, at least the camera is saved. Alrighty. Nice black paint, so it looks really nice in black and white. Look at him, the guy who manages to load the film after so long. And you could also see how the video, like when I pull back, it doesn't snap into focus. You know, it has to take some time, and you know, this is the problem with the Q3 video.
This is how you change film. Sit down.
Yeah, have a nice spot in the middle of the street where you're not disturbed, right? Make sure the environment is safe, and then properly remove the base plate. I like the thing about film cameras and Leica is how they're really similar. So the M7 looks similar to the MP, and you load it the same way. So this is again Kodak Gold, courtesy of Stanton for today's comparison. And yeah. So I'll put the canister in with one hand and then pull the film after it's seated. Both M7 and MP has the auto loading mechanism, so you don't really need to play with inserting the film too much. And then I'll just close it. So unlike Stanton where he cocked the film lever before he put the base plate, I tend to do it only after I close the base plate, because then I can have one extra or half a shot free. Okay, so loaded, ready for action. Okay, so Kodak Gold is a 200 ISO daylight film, and I think for the purpose of today, how the sky is quite gloomy, I'm gonna have a +1 EV value onto the camera.
Okay.
And we're gonna standardize this with Stanton's MP.
Okay.
So the problem about the 0.95 Noctilux is just so heavy. And yeah, I have a hood, but you know, on the M7, I feel like the camera is tilting forward, you know? I always have to lift it.
Whereas this is very well balanced.
Whereas, you know, this is just like, not just right.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, like this doesn't feel good on the M7. But maybe I should get like the black paint version, which is slightly heavier. I don't know. You know, I don't really like the forward tilting of this lens on the M7. So the good thing about the Leica Q3 is how I can operate it with one hand. So at the moment I'm recording Stanton here doing his thing while safeguarding the Noctilux on the M7 because it's quite heavy. So, but you know, the good thing about having autofocus is you could do this with one hand, and yes, it's not the same experience as the M3 or the M camera, but you know, you could do this with one hand.
I hope there's inbuilt stabilization.
There is.
Okay.
There is.
It'll be a good test.
Yeah.
If not, Junio would fix that in post-production.
Exactly. But okay, stay there. All right. So the aperture is f2, And you know, you have a really nice depth of field behind Stanton at the moment. And yeah, it's just a fast lens. And obviously being 28, if I get closer to him, you see the depth of field behind. Such a good video camera to have under the Leica arsenal. Yeah.
Okay. So how we meter with the Leica MP is that there's a ISO indicator at the back, and basically I will adjust the ISO according to what film I've put in. And when you're metering with the MP, basically you'll see a red dot and 2 arrows. And essentially, when you're metering, if the arrow on the right is lighting up, it means that you're overexposed, whereas on the left, it means you're underexposed. So then you need to adjust your exposure accordingly. It doesn't tell you how far it is, so basically you need to sort of guess what the general metering is and then adjust it until you approach the right exposure, essentially.
So what are you adjusting when you say adjust?
So usually I will, because currently I'm trying to shoot with like sort of and it's full manual, but essentially I'm trying to set my aperture at around f2.8 or f4 depending on the condition, and then I'm adjusting my shutter speed.
So where's the shutter speed dial?
So the shutter speed dial is here. So the Leica MP maxes out at 1/1000. And so essentially, as it gets darker, then hopefully the Noctilux we can shoot out a lower light, a lower aperture, so larger aperture, so we can get some more interesting shots.
So that means, let's say if you point a camera and the light meter is telling you you're underexposed, you have to manually then use the finger to turn the shutter speed dial or adjust the aperture until the light meter in the middle shows you a dot. Then you can take a photo. So do you think that this slows down the process even more?
Slightly, but I think like if you're shooting, for example, the light conditions here is quite
consistent,
because we have an overcast sort of day. So once I set it at 1 exposure, the adjustments that I make are quite small. So it's still quite fast, I would say, if you want to just shoot more quickly.
And how do you, let's say if you want to like add 1 EV value, obviously the panel doesn't have that option for you at the back of the Leica,
So for example, I'm trying to shoot 1 exposure brighter. So basically
1 stop of light more.
1 stop of light more. So essentially, I'm setting my ISO to 100 on the camera. So it's essentially, I'm trying to overexpose.
Right. So it's a 200 ISO film, and you're shooting as if it's 100 ISO. Nice. Rolling. Okay, so Stanton has introduced the light meter system on the MP, and so I'm going to talk about the M7 and why I like it more than the MP. So for the M7, it's really simple. All you need to do is just point and shoot, and the camera will detect and calculate the appropriate shutter speed based on the aperture. This is what other brands call aperture priority. Aside from this though, the bad thing about the M7 is a battery powered camera. So if your batteries are low or something went wrong in terms of electronics, then the camera technically should not work, except 2 shutter speeds. One is 1/60 and the other is 1/25. So the M7 still allows you to take photos using purely mechanical function of the camera at these 2 particular shutter speeds. So for me, you know, I'm a street shooter. I like to point and shoot and go without having to play with the shutter dial. So having an aperture priority sort of system in the M7 really works for me. And the other thing that also separates the M7 and the MP, which I like, is the back panel options. So aside from manually selecting the ISO for the film, there's a DX function. So this one means that the camera will read the code behind the film canister and determine what the ISO should be. And this is great if you have a raw film in there, you left it in your cabinet for a while, when you take it out you don't know what sort of ISO you should shoot at. The DX function allows you to shoot at the ISO that the film canister states. Aside from that though, you can also manually adjust the EV value. So for instance now, because it's slightly darker, I'm adding 1 EV value, so I can just move the shutter dial towards +1 without actually having to change the ISO, unlike the MP.
If you get a parking ticket, how many views on YouTube do you need to offset that?
I hope as much as I can. By the way, are you recording, right?
Yeah.
By the way, I mean, like, now the time it's around sunset and everywhere is quite dark. When I meter at 0.95, this shot here, shutter speed is 1/60. So having a Noctilux, being able to shoot at 0.95 in low light, it's so convenient. This is a Kodak Gold 200 ISO film, and normally you wouldn't be able to use it in this time of day. So I'm interested to see what sort of photos I'm getting at this particular hour.
Who needs gimbal when you have gimbal hands?
So difficult trying to get an animal on the floor. Alright, so I've just finished the last shot. Now, to be honest, I have never shot the Noctilux on an M7 film body before. Nor have I shot it with Kodak Gold at this time of day, which is quite impossible to use. So I hope my image are not blurred, because most of the shutter speed now is around 1/60. But yeah, this is a great experiment to do against Stanton with the Leica MP. And yeah, I'm really interested to see what sort of results I have.
Alright, so we're done shooting and man, it's hot. But it was a fun experience. I think it's actually my first time shooting the Noctilux on film as well. And yeah, but actually, now that having shot with the MP and compared to the M6, I actually prefer the old rewinding mechanism on the M6. So this one you sort of have to like put your hands over it and rewind it, whereas the other one, it had a little knob that you can sort of hold on to and rewind. And yeah, I do prefer that sort of rewinding mechanism, but yeah, it's just a small point. But I think this one is less prone to breaking because that one actually sticks out a little bit. So yeah. That one but well, I mean, I've never seen reports of people like having that broken, so it's pretty sturdy design. But I do prefer the sort of knob there.
Yeah. Right. And while we are recording Stanton now, it's pitch black outside using ISO 6400, and you can see that the autofocus is suffering. It doesn't lock onto his eyes, and it's always drifting off. So maybe I have to trigger the manual focus for this part.
All right, Kodak Gold, and we're done.